In this video, we are recapping the insane weather over the past several days. Also, more wild weather is expected today as the Storm Prediction Center has put out a large enhanced risk of severe weather with 2 distinct areas of increased tornado potential. Beyond that, things are not cooling down as the medium range models look incredibly interesting. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. We've been streaming a lot here recently as the Great Plains have awoken. On Wednesday, several tornadoes occurred across Oklahoma and Texas, and our chasers were on top of it as all of them captured incredible footage. We got vital information out to massive amounts of people, including this impressive early call out from meteorologist Andy Hill before an official warning was issued. Okay, go ahead, Andy. Go ahead, Andy.
Ryan, I did want you to play that loop of the tornado headed towards just south of Lockett. It looks like it's occluding and thus moving north toward the town. That's a very dangerous situation. If it is occluding and decoupling from the parent mesocyclone, it can move in the direction of the average low-level wind, steering it to the north. So everyone in Lockett should be extremely careful and well underground by now if they can be.
Just 10 minutes later, Lockett was taking damage from an EF3 tornado. Also, Evan Freiberger was in Oklahoma right after the storm, getting people's stories, including this one from Bradley in Earlsboro, Oklahoma.
I seen it stall down back behind our pond over there, and when it stalled down, I said, boys, it's doubling back, and when it doubled back, it came back through and hit our shop over there. It come through this pasture right here and hit our shop, and that's where I was standing. I was inside the shop on the south side door. My house got completely removed from where it was sitting. All my belongings are scattered about 70 feet to the south, and I don't know, it's just rebuild stage now, I guess.
And as always, the weather's going to keep moving forward, so we have to stop talking about the past and continue to talk about the weather. All right, here's a look at that enhanced risk of severe weather for today, May 6th. If you're in the southeastern portion of the United States, you got to be weather aware today as we do have that enhanced risk for Atlanta, Macon, Athens, Georgia, into South Carolina, a lot of North Carolina, Raleigh and Charlotte both included in this, and of course Richmond and Virginia Beach and Virginia are included in this. Here's that tornado outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. You've got a 10% probability of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of a given point if you're in Atlanta today. Also Columbus and Macon, Georgia, you guys are included in this as well. The brown is 5%, the green is 2%, and look at this, we got another 10% area over here from Richmond all the way down to Rocky Point between North Carolina and Virginia. This is not an incredibly significant threat. We don't have a hatched risk. These are just 2 general 10% probability areas. I would be surprised if we didn't see a tornado today, but I'm certainly not expecting a tornado outbreak. The main threat today, the thing that everybody should be most concerned about, is going to be the damaging wind. If you're in the red, you got a 30% chance of damaging winds. That's from Atlanta through Charlotte all the way up through Richmond. So make sure you are weather aware today. Have some way of getting warnings, and don't be scared, be prepared. Okay, let's look at the timing and impacts from these storms on the simulated radar from the HRRR. If you want to keep up with the date and time, it's always above my head. This is what the radar could look like today around 12 p.m. noon. As you can see, we've got some strong storms moving through portions of Alabama and of course down here in the western portions of the panhandle of Florida, down through Mobile, Alabama, and of course some storms are going to be exiting the southeastern portion of Louisiana. It's at this point forward where I become most impressed or most concerned with the tornado threat as it moves into Georgia. Remember, the cold front here is going to spark storms that could cause tornadoes, but we also have a warm front lifting up over here that could cause additional supercells between Virginia and North Carolina, and that's where the secondary tornado threat. Everybody else in between has a general wind threat. Look at this, guys. We got some strong storms going through the area by 5 p.m. this evening, and really there's going to be some hailers and some wind makers even back here in portions of central Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, up there into West Virginia, southern Ohio. A lot of these people are not included in the slight risk, but I think that you guys still need to watch out for the potential for some big thunder boomers today. There's really not a lot of nadir juice out here, but significant supercells could start popping up between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern between the border of Virginia and North Carolina, and this is where I'm also kind of concerned about the potential for tornadoes. Any of these that go discrete could rotate and produce tornadoes right in this area, and the HRRR does say that these might maintain their discreteness for a little while, all the way into 8 p.m. where we get that nocturnal enhancement of the low-level jet. And of course, if we see something like this on the radar this evening, a discrete supercell and it has that rotating updraft, we could be talking about tornadoes today, unfortunately. I don't think that it's going to be an outbreak. I don't think that it's going to be this huge, terrible, big deal. I really don't want you guys to be scared, but just know the chance is there for a tornado or two, and mostly prepare for that straight line damaging wind and hail. Still raining and storming back here in Kentucky. I think there's also a pretty decent flash flooding threat back in this region as well. So if you live in a flood prone area, especially in the Appalachian Mountain area, you guys know how those valleys work with flooding. Make sure you're prepared for potential flooding as we go through this evening, because these storms are going to have a lot of moisture with them. There's a lot of precipitable water in the air, and these are certainly going to pack a punch all the way through until they exit the region. Heavy rain in the Delmarva all the way up through New Jersey by 1 a.m. in the morning. But for the most part, these storms are exiting, okay? And that's pretty much the last we're going to have to worry about severe weather over here, at least for the next little bit. Let me play that progression for you once again. Everybody on the southern side down here are mostly concerned about the wind. The tornado threat's minimal for you. And then, of course, on the northern extent, we're talking about rain and flooding. And then these two areas in the middle here, that's where I'm kind of concerned about tornadoes. So don't be scared. Be prepared. Make sure you have a way of getting warnings today, and make sure you have a plan in place. If that warning does come through, you know exactly what you're going to do as far as how you and your family or your coworkers are going to get to shelter and protect yourself from a potential tornado. All right, the next area that we have to be concerned with as far as severe weather goes is all the way out on the day 4 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. This is not until Monday next week. We already had that 15% chance of severe weather way up here in the north in portions of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa. It does look like there's going to be some significant storms over here, so make sure you're starting to prepare now for that potential tornado, straight line damaging wind, and hail risk. This was one that I think is probably going to increase as we go forward, and this might be another one that we have to do a live stream for. I'm not 100% sure right now, but let's start breaking down the details on this. Okay, coming over here to the Euro model to see what's going on at the 500 millibar level, way up above our heads, and there you go. You can see on Sunday into Monday, we are going to have a developing trough in the west, and then a really sharp ridge forming right here in the central U.S. This is going to send moisture and heat and convective energy values way up into the north. It's going to send those tomatoes, okay, those maters down here in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to send them flinging up against that wall, and we're going to see a lot of mater juice, maybe some nader juice, as we get into Monday there in the northern extent of the Midwest. Speaking of nader juice, if we take a look at the 850 millibar winds, it's there, guys. Okay, we're going to have plenty of low-level jet stream induction to kind of enhance any sort of spin that's going on. So I think that this could be a tornado threat, but we're too close to really tell. If this ends up being a linear mode of storms, we're talking about a squall line with damaging winds, but if we do see supercells, we have to be concerned about the potential for tornadoes with this. So it's too soon to start freaking out about it. I'm just letting you know what we know right now. And look at that juicy air, son. The moisture goes all the way up to Canada, way over there in southwestern portions of Ontario. You're going to be getting 50, 60 degree dew points. It's going to feel nice. And just to your south, 60, 70 degree dew points down there in Iowa. That's what's going to fuel these thunderstorms as a dry line does come through, or a cold front, and that is absolutely going to spark some thunderstorms there. Look at all that moisture in the central portion of the U.S. up through the Midwest. That's a recipe for storms in the north if I've ever seen one. Also, look at this cape. Okay, we got convective available potential energy out the wazoo here in Iowa up through Minnesota. There are some values there showing up above 6,000 joules per kilogram, which is some very dense cape. The storms have to eat this, all right, to get energy. And imagine the joules per kilogram are calories, all right? The bigger, the more energy they're going to get. There's some very delicious and rich and just red velvet chocolatey cake up there in Iowa and Minnesota for these storms. So if they do start to fire up, especially if they're supercells, they're going to be very strong. Some very big updrafts with them, some large hail, and potentially some tornadoes. On the instantaneous flash rate, we can see some warm front action early in the day, and then as we go just a little bit further, we can see what might be supercells popping up later in the day. But honestly, this is way too far out to be looking at the instantaneous flash rate to try to determine how the storms are going to form and what mode they're going to be in. Speaking of radar, you're going to want a good radar app for this stretch of of severe weather. If you live over here, 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 it don't matter where you live. You want the best radar app. If there's a nadir coming right for you, you want to be able to track it with composite reflectivity, high resolution velocity. You want to see Vince Welty's camera live in the app? Well, guess what? You can do that only with today's sponsor. Radar Omega, a powerful tool for more than just radar. The number one question I get asked on this channel every single day is, what radar app do you recommend? And Radar Omega is always included in that answer. With fast updating alerts from the National Weather Service, copious amounts of radar data, and the ability to zoom all the way down to the building and street level, this is the perfect app for both veteran weather watchers and your average Joe who just wants to look at clear and accurate information. This is more than just a radar app. You can view lightning data, satellite imagery, and you can even view that satellite in 3D, which is probably one of my favorite features. You know you want it. Go ahead and treat yourself by clicking those links in the description to download on iOS or Android. Now let's get back into the video. All right, let's look at that CAPE as we go further into the future, okay? Remember, this is convective available potential energy. This is what storms need to form. It doesn't go away, guys. Look at this. Tuesday, May 10th, we're looking at maybe 6,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE. Remember, just because we have a big delicious cake here doesn't mean that it's being eaten, okay? Sometimes you have a big cake in the sky and there's no storms to eat it. That's just truth. So just because we have big, scary looking CAPE values doesn't mean that we're certainly going to have severe weather. Now, it certainly increases the chances, but as of right now, for all we know, there's no lift, there's no forcing, there's nothing causing storms to happen here, so the cake goes uneaten. So yeah, this is going to continue all the way through probably May 13th or 14th, and then it does look like maybe a slight low period of decreased activity as we go through that third week of May. I'm hoping so anyways, guys. I really need to go run some errands, go to the grocery store, I got to get out of this room here at least twice a year. So along with the increased energy values, we're also going to have increased temperatures. Look at this, guys. As we go out there towards Thursday, May 12th, you see that this ridge in the middle of the country here has just been kind of building up for a while. The reds indicate higher than average temperatures. The blues and the greens represent lower than average temperatures. This is the overall pattern as we go through the next several weeks, but it really kind of culminates here around Thursday, May 12th, where we have 30 to 40 degree above average temperatures over here in Colorado, portions of Nebraska, and 15 to 20 degree temperatures above average for a lot of the Midwest and the plains. This is going to lead to maybe some record-breaking high temperatures during this time period. If this was happening in June, everybody be well over 100 degrees. But the fact that it's happening in May, it'll be bearable, but still it's going to be very hot out there as that ridge builds up. Look at that, y'all. That is some crazy warm weather up there, all the way up into Canada, really. It's maybe 40 degrees above normal, way up into portions of Manitoba as this ridge and trough pattern continues. That's been sparking our severe weather for so long. Now, I do think that that's eventually going to let up, but as you can see, it's going to take a while for it to do so, and a lot of people in this area right here are going to be dealing with much above average temperatures all the way through the middle of May. Now, this is not good news for y'all over here that are in the drought, because it doesn't look like a lot of rain is coming. We do have those isolated chances of severe weather, but nothing intense is going to happen breaking the drought there, especially in northeastern New Mexico and southern portions of Colorado. Almost no rain is expected over the next 2 weeks. Now, some of that heat is going to be helped out, I guess, by the rain up here in the northern part of the U.S., but it's still not a lot. We're talking about an inch or two of rain over 2 weeks in portions of South Dakota. A lot of our rain, a lot of our moisture is going to be held off over here into the southeastern and eastern portion of the U.S., and then, of course, over here in the Pacific Northwest, where we've got that constant stream of moisture coming in over the trough and over the ridge over the next several days. Hey, huge shout out to our members over here. We're approaching 2,700 members. I really do think we've got the biggest, most impressive collection of hardcore weather enthusiasts. This is the biggest community of weather nerds in the world. Like, I don't think anything's even close. We're going to do some members only live streams soon. Make sure you join our Discord server. If you're a member, you get VIP access. And of course, follow me on all the other social media sites too, guys. That's where I'm most active, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Ooh.